Hey everybody, Speedy here, Benu Studio Inks. Here to give my weekly vlog. This is number nine technically, I believe. Yeah, we're at 9 weeks now of me being able to share and report on my progress with using the studio. And again, I'm back with the talking head thing because haven't done any construction. I mean, at this point, mostly what I need is just decorating, I guess, and a few components like, I'm planning on getting a better heater, a better air conditioner, things like that. But since I don't have those things, there's no footage of me really doing any kind of construction. Most of that's behind me now. Um, it's been a wonderful week, though, a very productive one. Continued the Tales from the Drafting Table series. That's going to be continuing constantly. Um, it's going to be moving to two specific days, and it's going to lock in on those days and stay on those days. So it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays from this week forward, starting next week on Tuesday. That's when it'll come out. Um, Monday, I plan on putting up something a little silly in a few shorts um, of a little bit of the stuff I'm doing behind the scenes on a couple of IPs I've been prepping. I've been working towards one that I don't really want to name yet. Not that it doesn't have one, it's just not the right time to name that IP. Um, One, I don't really have a voice actor for the character yet. I'm not settled on how I want to do that. I mean, I may do the whole Eddie Murphy thing where you just wear all the hats and play all the roles. Uh, I kind of am on the fence about that because the thing is, a person, no matter how much they might try, unless they're like a professional voice actor where they put all their focus on doing voice acting, even if you change your tone of voice or try to put on an accent or all of those kind of things, if it's not something you're trained in and you put a lot of focus in, the way you enunciate and the way you communicate, your lisps, things like that, they're going to come through even in the new character's voice. So it kind of, for me, feels like it might break immersion to do that. But I'm going to experiment with a lot of different methods to approach it. I don't use AI, and I don't have anything against people who do. It's just that I like the process of creating, and so I don't feel like an interest or a need. Ah, my glasses fell down. That's the sad news too. I have to update on the Saga. You see these glasses? These are my favorite glasses. I'm going to get in close. These are my favorite glasses, and you see all the tape and all the. Yeah, I broke my favorite glasses this week while I was working on a little bit of physical set design for a stop motion piece that I have coming. Like I said, I don't want to name it yet, but, well, I broke my glasses. I kind of sat down on them funny. They were in my side pocket, and I sat down on them funny. Um, I don't wear a glasses kind of leash thing because it sweats too much. It just makes me hot. So I tend to put them up on my head or down in my pocket. Well, I ended up putting them down in my pocket because I was kind of leaning my head in to do what I was doing, and I knew would keep falling off of my head. And I broke them, and I panicked. And I have other pairs of glasses, but these are my favorite working glasses. You know, I just kind of have ticks like that where I'm like, okay, I have multiple pairs of glasses. These are for being at the library. These are for being at the store. These are for being at work. And then these are for being in the studio. And, well, my studio glasses are damaged. But as you can see by the like Revenge of the Nerds style taping, I'm still trying to hold on to them. But yeah, they're like, the heat's really causing the tape thing to be a problem. But you know what? I'm an industrious little artist. I'm going to get the super glue. I'm going to get maybe some Fimo. Maybe some Fimo. I'm just worried about the heat thing. I can always pop the lenses out. If not some Fimo, maybe some air dry clay. Mm, and I'll put them back together with like little decorative skeletons all across them. Give them a real punky, mean, artsy band-aid instead of the Revenge of the Nerds tape thing that's failing. It's the heat that's causing it to fail. And it's like making them way too flexible. Very sad, but it hasn't stopped my progress technically, nothing short of a nuclear war. That's probably the only thing that stopped my progress. And honestly, if a nuclear war happened, I'd still just do Dada. For those who know, you know. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, let me set my glasses aside and get back to the point. So, now that I've got Tales from the Drafting Table mostly worked out the way I wanted, I'm trying to keep it down to 15 minutes an episode so it's nice and it's quick and it's got stories in it and some good background music that fits the particular subject. I'm been able this week to actually focus on my other endeavors that I have intended, that I have scheduled out, that I want to premiere on the channel. And so part of it's been a little bit of my stop motion set design work. Um, and I'm going to be moving into doing some of the costuming because I have a character who's in desperate need of clothes. He's naked. And that's got to be solved, at least for the sake of this series that he's in, this subject that I'm doing with this character. That's the one I mentioned I don't have a voice actor for because I haven't 100% decided how I want to go about it. Um, but hey, yes, I'm going to solve it. See, like I said, I got a naked character, and I'm gonna fix that for him. I'm gonna have him some really nice threads. I'm gonna make them myself, make all the costumes, the clothing, the furniture. I'm enjoying doing that. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. And it's got a really cool story. This week I was able to finalize the script for what I intend to do. Um, and I'm feeling really good about it. And so I'm going to go into production during part of Sunday on my birthday. I'm going to start doing some of the set production, testing out the sets, testing out the lighting, things like that. So I'm kind of excited. I can't say 100% when this is coming out. My hope is that at least some previews or some shorts based on it will start to come out in August. For that series that I've been mentioning on and off in Tales of the Drafting Table is that I have a series coming called For the Love of Execution. I love that title. Sorry. Even just saying it makes me change my body language. Just get you that again. For the Love of Execution. Oh, I don't know. I've been putting a lot of it together, how I want it formatted, how I want it to work, and I'm getting closer to testing out a few of those things and starting to do a little bit of editing to try to put together the first pilot, which I definitively have planned to come out in the first week of August. Its premiere date and its regular scheduled date will be Fridays. And what happens in the series is me concluding the things that I've done on Tales from the Drafting Table, like this Wolverine montage. It's been a test for me to kind of figure out how I wanted Tales from the Drafting Table to flow, and it's worked really well for that. And so, to not leave anybody hanging, the first episode of For the Love of Execution, I'm going to actually complete the Wolverine montage on its final medium and put it up someplace in the studio and hang it, and call that one done. Another project out of the way, and then begin moving into the next subject that I'm going to do on Tales from the Drafting Table, which will be a painting. I'm going to be drafting for a painting I intend to do, which is a tribute to Aristotle and Plato. But yes, this has been a fantastic week. And also, I came up with a spokes character, you know? And as I'd mentioned in the last couple episodes of Tales from the Drafting Table, I created a little spokesperson cartoon character to just do my little shorts, to give little quick updates on schedules and make posts about things going on in the studio, or make posts about things I need if I decide to advertise for an actual voice actor, which I'm looking at my budget and I'm looking at what I need equipment wise to go that route. I think that'd be really awesome if I can meet a person who can really understand the script and what I'm going for with that character, and a person who's got the ability to have some level of commitment and consistency, because It's a role that will be a reoccurring role. So it won't necessarily be long, but its pilot will to introduce it. So it's got its own kind of, you know, release story. And then from there, it kind of moves into shorter formats. Um, but it'll be a weekly thing. And so I'd like to get that like more hammered out. And that's what I've been doing while I've been doing Tales from the Drafting Table, because I was able to upgrade my equipment a little bit, get a little bit better camera, hook up a computer in the drafting part of the studio. I took it out of the main core here in my art department and put it there because really, and when in the long run, I'm going to end up having computer stations, either laptops or full desktops, all over the studio and all the different areas that I work in a lot. And in the future, I plan on getting a GoPro so that I'll be able to like film and move around the studio a little more naturally, um, and get footage that way so I can work and get footage instead of having to kind of go out of my way to film and then come back to it. I think people understand what I'm getting at. It's intended to free up even more time so I can work on the more fun things. But like I said, I came up with this cartoon character. I thought she'll be my spokesperson. And, sometimes it just works that way that you intend something to be basic and short and just has that singular kind of purpose. Well, the muses hit me on the head, and a song came to me while I was sketching up that bunny. She's a bunny, Bunny V. This song kept coming in my head, and so I had to sit down and do some music and get it out of my head. And that song that came to me, in a way, helped me write an entire trilogy based on that spokesperson, or spokes animal, my cartoon spokesperson for the studio. She's still going to fulfill that role, so I'm going to continue to wrap up the shorts that I intended her for originally. And so she's still going to be the little spokesman cartoon character. But yeah, she also grew to have her own origin story and her own theme song. And she's like she's gotten her own life now. And things do work for me that way. I've actually got other IPs that were already going, but working on her has been pretty easy. So I feel pretty good about going ahead and giving her a backstory and kind of giving her her own little pilot, and then still just continuing in the future after that to use her as my little spokesperson for the channel and for the different things that are upcoming, and for posts and for quizzes and things like that. So that's something to look forward to. And while I've been working on Tales from the Drafting Table, it's been on my mind. The song's been on my mind. I've been singing it all week in my head. Um, you guys will get that when I actually release her pilot. You might get it when I do the shorts. I might add the musical part of it, not the lyrics. We'll just have to see, because I'm still in the stage of animating her for all those individual shorts and announcements. And I've already worked out an entire script with a prologue, a main story, and then an epilogue to go with it, how she ended up with us as our spokesperson kind of thing. Um, and I will be moving in the next couple of weeks towards getting a little bit more footage of me working on the aesthetic part of the studio. So I do anticipate that in Saga 9 and 10, there will be less of the talking head me and more of the like actual physical studio, which I prefer to do. And that just me doing like, voiceovers. And maybe like I do with Tales from the Drafting Table, I come on, I introduce myself, and then I like say goodbye and everything. Um, but actually, this has been a really fantastic week for me because I was going through that crisis and decided to pull the trigger on one of my Keystone series before it was really polished. Because honestly, I could just sit there and polish it forever and never release it. I just came to the epiphany that if I was going to do it, I just needed to do it and face the music, if you will, of the challenges and of the flaws and the times that it wasn't going to come out perfectly. And the first half of it is really rough. The stories are good and the approach was okay, but I improved it over time, and it's been consistent. Consistency is a really big thing for me. I feel like me getting to the level of where I'm able to be consistent is going to be a huge part of me being able to get the rest of my work in the studio done, rest of my ideas and my IPs alive and out there to audiences. So here's to a really fantastic week. Um, yeah, right now I'm bunny ears. I'm just bunny. I've got bunny stuff on my mind before I got on to do this vlog. Look, I've got my drawing gloves on. That's what I was doing. I was doing it digitally. She's digital, so she's not coming from like the real world or the drafting table or anything like that. Um, but the way the scripting is going, there may be some elements from the real world that I'll, scan in and incorporate in her pilot story, which is a wild story. It's a wild hair. You just got to wait and see. Um, you'll get to see her as our spokesperson long before her backstory. And when her backstory is ready to release, I'm coming with it. I'm coming with it. I'd like Wednesday to be the day where I premiere these kind of like short one shot kind of origin stories for characters and for different elements I use. Um, Otherwise, when there's nothing to premiere, I'm going to leave Wednesdays open. What I will do is possibly maybe, you know, do only shorts and social media stuff and nothing directly on YouTube necessarily, other than maybe a post and a voting thing. If there's any critiques or anything anybody likes about the character or thinks is contradictory or any of those kind of things, to get a little bit of feedback. Now, I have other ones that, like I said, I haven't discussed the name of that are much bigger, much longer term. I may premiere trailers of them, but they're intended to go to film festival and competitions and to be pitched to bigger streaming channels. I have a science fiction series that I wrote about a decade ago that I've already long ago done all the concept art, all the scripting. I have full binders full of colored storyboards so that I have a director's binder on how I want to execute it. Um, One of the big reasons why I built the studio is so that I could pull off these bigger projects. So there will be some of my IPs that you might only get like a trailer or a sneak peek of, but I won't really give the whole thing out because I'm actually busy taking it to festivals. If it doesn't end up doing well after a couple of years, then I'll probably will just premiere it and run it on my channels and make it available Wednesday. Um, really don't have a whole lot more to add other than I got bunny stuff on the brain for sure. I've got a naked character who needs costuming. I'm almost through with his set design, however, but yeah, he's naked. Yeah, I gotta fix that. It's been annoying me a little bit. But, I'll get it fixed. He's got a cool history and a cool backstory, too. Um, that'll get shared here pretty soon. Like I said, I may put a little couple of shorts, little 2 or 3 minute videos up to kind of give a hint at what's coming with them. But I'm not going to give away the good stuff. I've always hated trailers where you practically see a whole movie in 15-second trailer. Then you go to the movie because you're like, oh, that trailer looks good. Then you go to the movie and you're like, oh crap, that's the whole movie. They just made it longer. I hate when that happens. So I don't want to give away too much. I just want to give little you know, visual hints that there's real stuff going on and in development. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I hope you have all of the things you dream about manifest. Um, if you're interested in voice acting, though, hit me up. I leave my contact information down below in the description. Um, like I said, I'm not decided on how I'm going to approach it yet. So this is a good time if you're interested in something like that to get in contact with me. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep kind of exploring different ideas on how I want to go about it. You know. Anyway, well, anybody want to network or work on collaborating on your project that you have? That you're like, hey, I could use somebody who's edits or somebody who could help me understand how to put a project together, beginning, middle, end, so it can be finished. I've got a lot of experience doing that from being a production manager for 30 years at different production houses. So I'm not coming at the studio with zero experience. I will say this: I've never actually had my own studio all the way, like the old school masters. I've apprenticed under a lot of people, but it's finally a time in my life where I can have my dream and have my studio, and I'm doing it. And I'm really happy about that. And so that's why I always mention I hope everything that everyone out there is dreaming of becomes manifest, because every day I'm working on manifesting my dream. And I couldn't be happier. Just the process alone feels good. It's hard sometimes and it's challenging, but it feels good to know that I'm actually doing something that means something to me, that I really, truly, deeply in my heart and soul want. And I can't really transmit how valuable that is. Don't wait, go for it, because someday really doesn't come. That's not a joke. Don't procrastinate. Reach out there and grab it. It's not supposed to be easy. It wouldn't be good, and you won't enjoy it if it came easy, and you wouldn't value it either. So, anyway, have a wonderful day, and I hope you manifest everything you dream of. Speedy out. See you next week. Bye bye, y'all.